So my darling ones, welcome to our Monday practice. Our theme today is just going to be a word, and that word is stir. Stir and stirring. I feel as we sort of start to move in earnest from Imbolc, I can see Kim doing her stirring. Beautiful. As we move from Imbolc towards Ostara and spring equinox, even though we're not there yet, that idea of stirring up the body can be a real nice one to stir up magic, to stir up movement, to stir up this idea of hope and light and all those beautiful things that we think of when we think of springtime. So with this in mind, we're just going to start in an easy seat. So let those sit bones settle into the earth. As always, you can sit on cushions or blankets, whatever you like. We'll rest the hands wherever is comfortable. We'll lift all through the spine, through our center, that sense of rising, lifting through our core. And we're just going to take a few breaths here. So you can close the eyes if you like. We'll take a little time to breathe and to settle. Though our theme is to stir today, we want to take a little time to find our foundations first, find our roots first. And then from that easy seat, you can keep the eyes closed if you want to, we're just going to start a little gentle stirring of the torso. Imagine you've got a hula hoop around your belly and you're just ever so gently circling that hoop. Or you might imagine the pelvis as a bowl and the spine is like a little stirring wand, and we're just starting to stir up. And this movement is just to begin and unfurl, so don't worry too much about how hula hoopy it looks. This is just a little movement, a little circling movement. Beautiful. I just see someone in the waiting room. So you guys keep stirring those lovely hip cauldrons, and I'll just let our sister in. Lovely. Beautiful. And then whichever way we're circling, we're going to go the other way now. If you're just freestyling, don't worry, you can just freestyle the movement. Welcome, welcome. If you've just joined us, we're just taking an easy seat and we're just taking these little circles of the torso as if we were sort of using our spine to stir up the little cauldron of our pelvis, that pelvic bowl. Sometimes called Sufi circles, just a lovely little spiraling, stirring movement. And when you're ready, we're just going to come back to center. Another little circling spiral, we're going to come to the shoulders and we're just going to bring them up to the ears and roll them away. And you can do both at the same time, or you can do a little shimmy shoo. And I always like to envisage if anything is settled upon my shoulders in terms of stress or just those day-to-day weights that we carry upon our shoulders, we might just kind of shrug them away here. Lovely. Sometimes I hear the little crunchies when I move my shoulders, so I know there's been some weight settled there. Welcome, Pam, my lovely. We're just taking you some shoulder rolls here. Easeful movement. Lovely. Let's let the shoulders hang heavy. And we'll move to the neck. So we're going to drop the chin to the chest. And we're just going to do little half moon rolls. So the chin's going to go from one shoulder along the front line of the body to the other shoulder. So like little semicircles, little half moons. Now take your time. If anyone's got any little tensions or niggles in the neck, you might want to be super slow with this one. Ooh. It's a bit of a storm going on outside at the moment, so some interesting gusts of wind whirling around outside. So the wind is stirring, the weather is stirring as well as we stir. How very appropriate. When you're ready, we'll bring the head back to neutral. We'll do the same at the back of the body. So just let the head fall back. And we're just going to do some little half moon rolls. Again, just take your time. And from here, we'll just let the head come back to upright. Beautiful. So I had a plan. What was I going to do next? Oh yes, and we're going to do wide legs. We're going to do wide legs from here. So sit bones rooted in the earth. Legs just as wide as is comfortable for you. So take your time to just find what feels right. And the torso, the spine, tall once more. And we're going to once again come to that imagery of stirring the cauldron. So we're going to clasp our hands together, imagining we're holding a wand or a wooden spoon. And then in front of us is a giant cauldron. It sits between our knees and our ankles. There's a huge cauldron. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stir around the edge of that cauldron. You can just pick a direction. We're going to do some circles in one direction. Beautiful. So you're sweeping the arms right around the edge of that cauldron and then bringing them back to your heart center as you come upright. Beautiful. Move as slowly as you like. I know wide legs can feel challenging sometimes, so if you want to move super slow, if you want to bring softness into the knees, feel free to do so. A very appropriate little movement for stirring up a little witchy magic with our yoga, or just enjoying that lovely imagery of stirring up energy. Beautiful. So just when you're ready, we're going to swap our circles. So we'll take it the other way. So if you're going clockwise, we'll go anti-clockwise. Beautiful. Just taking our time to take those big stirs. Beautiful. So just the next time you bring your hands back to your heart, we'll just let the hands come to the earth. And then from here, we're just going to come into a little fold over the wide legs. So we'll just walk or slide the hands forward. We're going to let the head hang heavy. So we took a little dynamic movement, and now we're just settling in for a few breaths. So we've got time to stir and time to settle. And from here, we'll rise through head and heart. Lovely, lovely, beautiful. So from here, we're going to scoop the knees in. We're going to journey to a tabletop position. Take as long as you need to bring it in, padding under the knees if you want a bit of extra support or softness, depending on the surface you're on. So we're in our tabletop position. We're just going to move through some cat and cow movements. So on the inhale, we flex the spine in, turban and crown shine to the sky. On the exhale, we flex the spine out, turban and crown shine to the earth. And we're just going to move with the rhythm of our breath. So each inhale, we're flexing in. Each exhale, we're flexing out. And we're just finding the rhythm of our breath. If you find yourself breathing the other way, so you're breathing in as you flex out, that's absolutely fine. As long as you're in harmony with the rhythm of the breath, it doesn't really matter. Lovely. So if you are happy here with the cat and the cow, or if you have any tenderness in the low back or shoulders, feel free to stay with this flexing movement. Or if you want to join me, what we'll do on the next exhale is we're going to drop the bum back down to the heels into a little child's pose. And then as we inhale, we're going to roll forward into the cobra, opening through the heart and hips, a little softness in the elbows. So we exhale to the child's pose. And then we inhale to the cobra. Again, if this feels too much on spine or shoulders, feel free to stay with the cat and the cow. Two lovely little harmonious movements with the breath. And finding our rhythm, stirring up a little movement, a little dynamic energy, maybe even stirring up a little heat within the body. We're going to roll through a few more, whichever version we're doing. And then no rush. Just the next time you find yourself in child's pose, we're going to stay there. So take your time as we settle in. You might want to widen the knees. You might want to reach the hands forward. You can come to any child's pose you like best. And we're going to rest the forehead upon the earth. And we breathe. We'll take a few more easeful breaths in this place. And then from here, we'll gently lift through head and heart. What we'll do from here is we're going to bring our bum to the earth. We're going to sweep the legs around. We're going to come to our little balancing egg pose. So the sit bones are settled in the earth. We are hugging our knees towards our heart, and we're just finding that little sweet spot of balance where we can float the feet off the ground. So hugging the knees in, feet float, or you can just have little tippy toes if you're not quite there with the balance yet. We're just going to take a few easeful breaths. There are lots of variations to this one if you want to engage the core a little more, so you can float the arms away. You can raise the legs to a right angle, or you can even straighten the legs entirely for Navasana, boat pose. But all finding that little balance point on the sit bones, so you can play around with whichever one you fancy today. We'll take a breath or two. And then when you're ready, just check that it's safe behind you, check there's no cats or anything. We'll roll backwards onto the earth, and we can just have a little wiggle, a little shimmy as we settle the shoulders, the hips, the spine into the earth. We'll do a few circles with the knees, so we'll pick a direction and we'll do some nice little circular stirring movements here. And whichever way we're stirring, we'll take it the other way now. And then as we gently hug the knees back in towards our heart, we're going to draw into happy baby. So we take the knees wide and down as if we're tucking them into the armpits. We shine soles skyward, and you can take hold of your toes, outside edges of the feet, ankles, or if you're feeling something a little more restful today, you can just let the feet drop and hold the knees instead. So lots of variations. And if you want, you can take the sway side to side. You can even take a little stretch out with one leg, and then the other as we take that side to side movement. Or you can be completely still if you prefer. So happy baby with as much or as little movement as we like. A few more breaths here if that's comfortable. And then as we release the toes, we're going to hug the knees back in for a moment. And from the tuck, just for a breath or two, we're going to draw the forehead in to meet the knees. So we're coming into that teeny tiny little shape as if we're curling up into a tiny seed. And then from our tiny seed, we're going to expand out long. So we're going to send the legs long, we're going to send the arms along. And we're just going to have a little stretch here in any way we like. So you can wiggle fingers and toes, you can spread out like a starfish, you can have a little side stretch in that little crescent moon shape. You can take a couple of breaths on one side and a couple of breaths on the other. So just a chance here to expand in any way you like. And when you feel ready, we're going to bring the arms back alongside the body, and we'll take a moment to prepare for our Shavasana, our relaxation and meditation time. So as always, you can gather socks, blankets, jumpers, whatever you would like to feel warm and cozy. We'll be here for about 5 minutes or so, so bear that in mind if you think you might get chilly. Bring in those layers. Now, Shavasana itself is a pose of laying down flat on the ground, but if you prefer to take your meditation seated, you're very welcome to do that too. And as we find our restful place, you can close the eyes. We take a little time to find our restful place upon the earth. As we take our time in stillness, in quiet, we seek that harmony, taking time to settle. so that we have the energy to stir and rise and move when we wish. As always, it is not that one is good or bad. It's just about finding our own balance. Time in stillness to pause, to reflect, or to let go. Every little moment, every little pause of stillness will help us when we wish to stir come spring. And as we bring our awareness inwards to that gentle stirring of the rise and fall of the breath and the beat of the heart, we'll notice, we'll feel these easeful rhythms as we take a peaceful, quiet minute. And perhaps the next inhale is a little longer, a little deeper than the last. You might want to stir and move the limbs, the fingers, the toes, take a little wiggle or a stretch in any way you wish. If you're laying upon the earth, feel free to take your time. You can bend the knees and pop the soles of the feet on the floor. We can roll onto one side if we wish into our little yogi recovery pose. And whenever you feel ready, we'll all return to our easy seats. So we're going to meet back here in our easeful seated position, the place we started. And to finish our practice today, we're going to do 3 big sweeps with the arms. So what we'll do is we'll take a nice big inhale, we'll sweep the arms high. We'll bring the palms together. We're going to exhale the hands to heart center in prayer. Beautiful. We're going to do that twice more, just in your own time. So you can rise and draw to heart in your own time. Perhaps we come to our final one. Hands come to heart. If the eyes are closed, we can gently open them. And to ourselves and each other, we say Namaste, Namaste.